Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second live stream about Plague Bearer, Dark Fantasy Role-Playing. You might, if you joined last time, you know these guys, but if you didn't, I say we let them introduce themselves again. How about that? Let's start with Guilherme Goulart to my right? Left? Image is flipped. This is hard. Yeah?
Yep. Hello, everyone. My name is Guilherme Goulart. I am a VP of Game Design Development here at Simon, and more connected through the RPG projects in the capacity of a lead producer. I've been working on Plague Bear for some time now. It's great to be here with you guys.
What about you, Francesco? And now it's easier. Like Francesco below.
Below, yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Francesco Nepitello. I'm a game designer with the company, game design manager, especially in relation with role-playing games. Not only that, also some board games. But in this case, we're talking about the role-playing game part of my business and the company's business, and in particular about Plague Bear.
Yeah. Okay, very nice to talk to you both again. So what are we here to discuss today?
So I think today we plan on doing a bit of a shorter live. It's more of a round of updates for all of you watching out there in the campaign. We've been interacting with you on the comments on the pre-order page. We've been hearing some feedback. So we're here to just bring a round of updates, talk a little bit about the Quickstart, and a few news.
Cool. Okay. So, Plague Bearer. Okay.
Ta-da!
This looks great and slightly different from last time.
It does. So this is just to show that the updates that we're doing on the game overall. So as you can see there, faded to the right is what we showed last time, the mock-ups that we had as we were composing logo, identity, and illustration and whatnot. And it's evolved since then. You may have noticed that on the Quickstart manual that we published. But then, of course, we're looking at the identity of the whole line, and I think this is just looking gorgeous. You can see how the core rulebook is looking like now, and of course that's going to set the tone for the entire line. Once you have your beautiful books on the shelves, they will be looking as fantastic as you can see there. Oh, that's me. Hi.
I can add. You can see there.
Yeah, I can add that. It's not only the graphical part that is getting focused, that is being focused right now. We are continuing developing the game as much as we're developing the graphic identity. So what you've seen so far, also with the Quickstart, it's like a first bite of the game, and there will be so much more in the core, because the evolution is as important with the game design through playtesting and gathering feedback than it is for the graphical approach. So you will, even if you've seen the Quickstart, you're going to have quite a bit of new stuff to discover with the core when it is released.
Speaking of that, people should get ready to get their first taste, if I'm not wrong, because we'll be participating in Free RPG Day coming in just a few months from now, right?
Yeah, actually, very close to the Free RPG Day. For those who don't know, Free RPG Day is an event that happens annually worldwide. It has hundreds of stores that participate, and it's all about providing players with free content for a tabletop role-playing game, from adventures to quick start materials, to accessories, and a range of other products. So what we wanted to announce today is that Plague Bearer will be one of the projects participating in this year's Free RPG Day. And we've prepared an exclusive adventure called Death Out of the Stars, which will be debuting there during the event. We really expect that for all of you who can participate to sit down and play, both the Quickstart and this adventure will be featured there as part of the event.
Okay, and what can players expect of this adventure, Francesco?
It's one of the first things that had been, well, not really in chronological order. Umberto wrote it when he was already deep into developing the world of Plague Bearer. and setting up the stage for the hundreds of adventures that you will be able to play with the game. But I find it particularly interesting because, as many fantasy and horror fans may recognize from the type of title, that Out of the Stars is inspired by some specific and popular horror writer that I guess people will probably be able to guess who we're talking about. Otherwise, we leave it as a possible discovery to be made. So yes, it's a very fast adventure, and it's very much defining the tone for Plugbearer, but at the same time, it is a tribute to something else.
Yep.
Okay. Very cool.
Awesome. We also got in touch with the folks at RPG Day. They not only are excited as we are for this participation, they also reminded us just to drop a note if you're a retailer of a store that's participating. There are still kits available to participate as a store on the official site, freerpgday.com.
Okay. Very nice. Did you all notice how Francesco did not spoil the adventure at all? Like, he mentioned a possible, he didn't even say what was the inspiration, but a possible, maybe it's inspired from somewhere else, but like no details were given at all.
I would
Nice
I would
way.
be curious if somebody can guess it before the end of the streaming, or in the next few days when they will be listening to it, if they will enter the possible inspiration for the adventure in the comments.
Nice way to dance around the question. I very much like that because we have to do that regularly. Okay, so I guess our next piece of news, other than RPG Day, try it out for yourself, is when is this coming to Gamefound? When can people order? And I think we're ready to go there now. Are we ready to announce the date?
We're ready.
Okay.
All right. So speaking of events in June, our campaign will also take place in June. I shouldn't say campaign, our pre-order on Gamefound. We will be launching on June 17th. That's when the Gamefound page you see today as a preview will have all the information and all the content available, all the options as well. As we mentioned on the last live stream, that we are continuously adding more information and more to the page as we go. We'll continue until then, but June 17th is the day.
Yeah. Very cool. So this will be live on Gamefound, and then just a few days later, people can try it out on the Free RPG Day, 22nd. So if you enjoy it, you will be free to order directly on the page as soon as you're back home.
Exactly. And as a reminder, as a pre-order, is the system is not that different from what we have right now with the Dead Keep, for example, where, just to explain, there's no stretch goals. There is a slew of options, and everything is there for you to check how it is, from videos to manuals to PDFs. And we'll be, of course, interacting with you. We're very much looking forward to be chatting with you and listen to your feedback on the comments and through updates as well. But just to clarify, it's not there's no stretch goals, it's a pre-order.
Okay. But even before RPG Day, from what I hear, people are able to try it out right now.
Right now, indeed. So this is more of a reminder. If you haven't seen yet, we published the Quickstart for Playbearer just over the weekend. It's available on DriveThruRPG. You can see the official site there. Just a quick point on this. It's a PDF that's made freely available. It contains a simplified version of the rules of the game. It also contains one adventure called Blood and Wine, and a small roster, 5 pre-generated characters. What that means is that you can put it all together in one 68 pages PDF, if memory serves. Download it, read it, and get to start playing now, even before the campaign launches. And just like we say there on the bottom, we'll be happy and eager to hear your feedback, your thoughts on actually playing the game.
Well, about this adventure, Francesco, will you share any details?
Well, normally in Quickstart sets of rules. You have simple adventures because they're introductory ones. Blood and Wine is actually really hard. It's a very hard adventure. It's a sort of a test, rather than for the characters, it's a test for the players. Because if they go into playing that adventure just with the idea that okay, we're going to kill everything that moves, they're in for a very bad surprise because it's a very lethal adventure. So it's we're going to see from feedback if how many players will go in there and start and realize that and eventually find a way to play it without ending up all the time with a total party kill. Because of course it's possible, because of course it is possible, but you have been warned. I have been warned. I'm warning you that if you go in there just charging headlong, it's not going to end well. It's going to show how grim the world of Plague Bearer can be if you don't think enough about what you're doing.
Okay, ominous. Slightly terrifying. Okay, so questions. We'll be taking questions in a bit of a different way today. We'll be showing them on screen, but like this below. Will the Quickstart? Oh, okay. Will the Quickstart be hard copy?
You just got into a tongue twister.
Yes, and like I couldn't remember which one was the correct one. Took a second there. Okay, but will it be hard copy?
That's a very, very fair question, one that we asked ourselves as well. I would say that we're not planning on it at the moment, at least. It's freely available through Drive4RPG, as you said. Maybe you can bring in some to conventions, to conventions or events like Free RPG Day. But I mean, there's always the possibility, right? There's a lot of demand for this, perhaps. So how about we settle for a maybe?
Yeah, there's one thing that we should add, that the Quickstart is very much a live document right now, because we wanted to show you something about the game as soon as possible. But this means that the game is going to change between what it is now as presented in the Quickstart and how it will be in the finished product. So it's going to be extremely likely that we will update the Quickstart as we progress in consolidating the game. So for the moment, we're not going to print that because otherwise it's going to be out of date very soon. But eventually, when it is consolidated in a final version, it might be possible.
Okay. I see a question here about the adventure on the Quickstarts. Not sure. Let's see if it shows on screen. Otherwise, I'll just read it out loud. I have a question about the adventure, Blood and Wine. In the start, it is said that adventurers have no gear, but the pre-gen characters have gear/weapons/spells. Are we supposed to keep this stuff?
Yeah, that's exactly, I think, a good example of why the document needs updating, because that's, for example, a mismatch between the possibility of starting the adventure with no gear at all and just rely on the mechanic of searching, and instead the fact that pre-generated characters were created with a fixed equipment in mind. So, well, since we cannot change right now what's written in the Quickstart, I just give you a designer note. You can either play the game at hard level by putting the characters into the adventure without gear, or you can play it at standard level by allowing the players to keep what they have on their pre-generated character. But we will fix that.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, speaking of characters and pre-generated characters, and of course, miniature questions are pouring in. We'll get to that subject as expected. We'll get to that subject later, I promise. First, since we just talked about pre-generated characters, maybe we can take a look at a few of the characters coming in this, right? Can you introduce us to Breld?
Absolutely. Just speaking from the creative process, what I wanted to show there a bit. If you can go back to the slide with the art, just to show a bit of the process. Thank you. Just to show a bit of the process of how these come to life, right? This Breld is not one of the pre-gens that you'll find on the Quickstart. He is part of the game, but not on the Quickstart. He is a miner. You can see there he's carrying heavy supports for the life that he leads. Well, he was a miner before the apocalypse broke out. But what we wanted to see there is that it's a very interesting, very cool process to kind of come up and create these people that inhabit this world, coming from as early as sketches. Then you can see there in the middle, once we start defining the details, that's the final lines. That art is by Jeremy Masson. And then what you can see on the right is typically the process that we do after the coloring process. This was colored by Georgia Lanza, just to see a bit of how they come to life for each one of these characters that we were debuting showing to you. But yeah, I mean, the one question, anytime we show characters, artwork, or even the little portraits on the banners, even here on the live, exactly, even here on the live, what we hear is that a lot of you has shown an interest in having miniatures for the line. And part of what we wanted to address today here is also to talk a little bit about that. Last time, on the last live stream, we spoke kind of a little bit about it, but without too much detail. And we're here today to say that we're listening to your feedback. We are gauging, of course, seeing this interest that you have, and that we will work on some miniatures for this game.
Yes. Are we okay? That's, I think, the biggest piece of news of the day. So yes, minis are coming. Should we take a look at maybe a few right now, right away? Or do you want to talk about the process first?
No, let's go. I think we have one preview here to show a little bit of also the creative process of that. There we go.
Indeed.
So now here we wanted to show Breld again, coming from the 2D form that we were looking at. And of course, we, as we mentioned before on the last live stream, we had ideas that eventually we could make a box of miniatures, more or less in the line that we've done before with Zombicide Chronicles, the Survivor set, where we would bridge that gap between the board game and the role-playing game with a set of figures that are, there's the plastic figure, there's the card to play on the board game, and also the character sheet, right? So you have that sheet to play on the RPG as well. So that was originally planned for an eventual future. We may get there, we'll see. But of course, we're seeing all of your demands and your interest in this. So we are basically fast tracking that process that was on a slow burner. What you can see there, as I mentioned, of course, this is all very much work in progress. To the left, one of the ID cards for Zombicide Fantasy line of games. And then on the right, the character sheet for Zombicide for Plague Bearer.
Really cool. We could add that, of course, the bridge between the role-playing game and the board game with these miniatures can be made even tighter, meaning that the characters, the miniatures are going to represent the pre-generated characters, but actually they will be one for each archetype in the core rules. So it's not only the 5 characters that we have in the starter set. So eventually, when you end up playing the tabletop role-playing game, you can use them. If you use miniatures in your role-playing game sessions, you can use those miniatures, and you will have one corresponding to each of the archetypes.
Yep.
Mm. And can you spoil Breld specifically for us? Is it ready enough for that to be doable? I'm not even sure.
Well, the one thing there should be said, I think, that since Breld will exist both as a character in the board game and as a character in the role-playing game, there will be differences, because one thing that we made with Plague Bearer compared to Zombicide Chronicles, for example, is that we really pushed the development limits to get to a point where the rules for the role-playing game are not simply derivative from the board game. I don't know if I'm being clear. With Zombicide Chronicles, we wanted to create something that was very adjacent to the board game. With Plaguebearer, we are going much deeper into tabletop role-playing game territory. So the two things are getting separated in terms of gameplay. In terms of there won't be any perfect equivalency between the two things. And that because we want you to experience the game as a true 100% role-playing game. So as far as the mechanics for Breld, for the minor character for the role-playing game, it's not too early. I mean, we have, of course, mechanics, but Breld is going to be, as far as the role-playing game goes, he's going to find himself very easily in when underground, being a miner, and of course he will profit from his very powerful physique. So hardened by years of hard work, carrying and breaking rocks and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
On the board game, it also has some skills connected to the physique, as you can probably.
Yeah.
There's a preview of the card there, but there's also his ranged skills come into play. He's a seasoned crossbow shooter in the board game as well, so he has a few abilities for shooting from a range.
That's fitting, I have to say.
Yeah.
Okay, but Breld is not the only character we're showing today, right? We'll also take a look at something very different, actually, from Breld, which is, oh no, I got it wrong. Did I get it wrong?
Some more perspectives.
Yeah, this is just to show a bit more on the creative process for creating these miniatures. I think one thing that's also interesting to discuss is that although we are going to work on a box of miniatures that will debut during the pre-order, a few things are very important. Like Francesco said, the game it's primarily a tabletop role-playing game, which means they are not mandatory. The miniature is not mandatory to play the game. Even to purchase, our plan is to be able to offer options that are separate. If you're interested in buying the books of the RPG, you can do just that. If you're interested in buying just the plastics, we plan on offering option for that as well. Of course, if that comes to be, the shipping of the plastic figures will likely be at a different time because, of course, there's a great disparity between production of plastics and of paper. So there may be that they will ship at a different time. But the current plan is to make just this one box with the survivors, with, I don't want to spoil too much, but enemies, let's say like that, about a single box with all the mainstays from the RPG in their plastic form for the board game. And this is likely going to be an exclusive to the pre-order offer. So it's one box with a number of characters, almost like an expansion for the board game, if you want to think like that. It will have the plastic figures for all of them, the RPG character sheets, and the ID cards. So just to encapsulate how we're approaching, trying to make sure that if you're interested in just one aspect of exploring this world, there's an option for you. And likely, of course, with a discounted option if you want to get both. And then just to speak a bit about the creative process, just to show a few turnarounds there on the miniature. I think it's just cool to see that we usually work from one key art, as you can see there from the slide, and then there is the whole process of sculpting, which means from interpreting things that are seen on the artwork, as well as coming up with things for the other sides, for the back view, and just preparing them for plastic production. We are showing you today Breld, both in the rendered form as well as the sculpting stages. But there's one more that we're working on that we can show, I think, a bit on the backstage as well.
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Victor, a nefarious necromancer from the game with a classic plague mask.
Yeah, well, this is Plague Bearer, right?
Yes, and necromancers are very much well, as in the board game also, but in Blackbetter, maybe the title itself can give it away, but it's very much about necromancers as the main adversaries of survivors, because while of course there'll be zombies and other types of monsters, but the real masterminds behind the Black Plague are those malevolent sorcerers. And so it's going to be the main mission of the players to thwart the plans of those sorcerers. Otherwise, they're going to suffer the Black Plague for decades if they knew anything about it.
Oh, so Dr. Victor is a necromancer. I thought he was.
Yes.
I mistook him. I thought he was part of the hero party. I was getting attached. No more. Okay. Okay, we do have a question below in the full rule book.
Mhm.
I don't know how much gritty and horrible world you want to show, but the weapon and stuff of the adventurer will be breakable. If not, the adventurer will surely keep the same weapon.
And weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the mechanics for gear, for equipment in general, weapons, but also combat spells and so on, are tied to the idea that things break. And there's a downtime phase in the game that is tied to, that basically represents when the survivors go back to a safe place and mend their wounds or start talking about new plans and new missions. There's a phase where you also check if the stuff you found and you are currently using breaks down or needs repairing and so on. So the search mechanic in the game is still very central, like in the board game and also in Zombicide Chronicles, where you need to take any chance, any opportunity you have to scavenge for new stuff. Otherwise, you're going to fight with subpar equipment if you don't do that. And also, one of the things that these nice fellows like the necromancers can do is actually ruin the stuff you carry with their sorcerer's spells. So you're not going to grow too attached to a nice sword or stuff like that, because otherwise you're going to be disappointed.
So you're saying I shouldn't name my sword?
Or yes, you can do that, like I did with my characters in Dungeons and Dragons many years ago. After too many total party kills, I started calling my characters with the same name and ending a number after that. So you can have your Stormbringer the first, and then Stormbringer the second, and Stormbringer the third.
That's a good tip, honestly. And you can frame it as like a lineage of characters.
We did that. Yes.
Okay. One more question here. We need more enemies, not just characters. There are skeletons and giant spiders in the second comic. I'm sure there will be new enemies in the RPG which deserve miniatures. Okay, so talking about Simon Comics Volume 2, I assume, going back to the RPG.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, he's right in the sense that, they are right in the sense that it's, the world has more than just characters, more than just humans and humanoids, so to speak. There are figures, there will be figures for enemies. The RPG does contain and explore new things, for sure. We've, of course, discussed Dr. Victor today, who was a necromancer. On the last live stream, I've shown a piece of artwork that was not even bipedal. So there's a number of concepts and enemies that we're developing. Like I said, the idea is to build a boxed set of enemies and playable survivors.
Okay.
Talking about adversaries, one of the things that I find really refreshing with Blackbetter is the fact that this is very much, it's a dark fantasy game, and this means that it's a borderline horror fantasy game. And this means that you are really not limited to anything as far as the adversaries are concerned, because you can have any type of enemy that is typical in a fantasy game exactly as it is. Let's imagine, I don't know, a manticore, but you can also twist it as a sort of a undead abomination. So there's always the possibility of making any type of fantasy monster into a different version by making it an undead. And as far as miniatures are concerned, the discussion is twofold, because with role-playing games, you shouldn't feel limited by the availability of miniatures, because you don't need them 100%. I mean, you can play without them. And we don't want to feel limited by the availability of those. We want you to be able to put any type of character, any type of creature in the game. But of course, you can scavenge your own Zombicide collection or your Massive Darkness collection to get miniatures. That's what I did for the length of my playtest of the game. I was opening boxes and finding the right miniature for the night session and so on. So we might, I mean, if the game goes well as we expect, there will be possibly more. But then again, another of the design aims was exactly to do this, to allow you to use your existing collection of miniatures and exploit it for your plug better sessions.
Yeah, and the world of Zombicide the Zombicide Fantasy is quite big. I mean,
yes,
there are, I don't know, five boxes already and a few more on the way. So that surely expands the amount of enemies and heroes you can add to your game, right?
Right. Yeah, already the game has 12 archetypes. That is quite a lot compared to most fantasy games out there, considering just the core rules. Usually you get 6 or stuff, or a number about that, as far as character classes are concerned. And so it's already quite expensive as a list, but it's absolutely open to expansions.
A question here below showing up: can we get RPG sheets for all the minis we already have from the board game? So I assume this is borderline impossible.
There's
let's
so
see. I don't
many.
know. Let me ask.
No, especially the characters, especially the amount of survivors that are there for Black Plague Zombicide make it basically possible. But what is absolutely possible is to take a mini you have and create your character around that using the rules for Plaguebearer. That's absolutely the way to do it, without waiting for us to give it to you, recreating it using the sim rules that are available to you. So the answer is, in a way, it is yes, you can do it.
That's true. I was thinking of, like, you're not limited to just when you're playing an RPG, to just having a pre-printed sheet, right? You can take inspiration from your miniatures, take a blank sheet and fill the rules as you see, right? There's absolutely the possibility to play with those characters you know and love. You don't necessarily need the pre-generated sheet for them. As we said, it would be hundreds and hundreds of sheets. I don't think it'd be even cost-friendly for shipping or anything like that.
True. That's true. Well, I think that about covers the content. Oh, no, another question. Okay. The lore of books, board games, and comics will all be tied into the same universe, right?
I like the final right.
Right?
Well, so far, the world of Black Plague hasn't been defined rigidly. One of the tenets of developing the game world through novels and comics and games has been to give freedom to creators, to not to feel constrained too much by, for example, a fixed chronology and stuff like that. So we don't have sitting someplace on our shelves a huge Black Plague encyclopedia that dictates what happens in the different media. We like the idea that if a writer comes to us with an idea with a pitch for a novel, he can be free to suggest that we do something rather than we tell him what to put into the novels. And that's possible because Plaguebearer and the world of Black Plague is still very open. We haven't yet set too many boundaries and so on. We are starting to freeze details with Plaguebearer, starting from a smaller part of the world. But we will soon expand to more and more areas. So yes, the general aim is to keep consistency between the different media, between comics and novels and games. But it is very much a work in progress. So we are not, for the moment, setting ourselves for the risk of breaking canon. We are defining the canon right now.
Okay, I think this will be... Sorry? Go ahead.
I can take this little series of questions. I will answer each one of them with one word. Is that fine? Are there more minis? Yes. How much coming? Yes. Also new abominations? Yes.
Yes. Okay, we have to keep something for next installments.
Yes, this or that. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I guess we covered what we had for today. Let's just do a brief recap before we go to our closing thoughts, because that was a lot. So, Gamefound coming June 17th. New adventure on RPG Day, June 22nd. Check with your local game store. Quickstart rules available now. You're free to play as you wish. Record it, share it with us. We would love to see that. In fact, I mean, we should, right? Us, the three of us. Maybe someone else. Maybe we could make that happen. Like, would people like to? Would people like to see that? Would you like to see us play? Would you like to see Francesco?
GMing.
GMing? Yes, I was like, game mastering? What is the verb here? I don't know. GMing a session? Guilherme, are you up to that?
I am absolutely up for that. Absolutely. Love to play.
So I guess...
Love to see your character die in a very grisly manner.
What?
Yes, I have to say, after what Francesco said earlier, I might have to rethink that.
No. Challenge accepted. I want a hardcore adventure now.
No gear.
Okay.
Okay. So, yes. So that was it for the day. It was a lot. It was a round of updates. We will keep you all updated as we have more news. And I think it's time for our closing thoughts. Let's start with Guilherme.
All right. It's been super exciting to be developing and preparing the pre-order with you all. I think my final note is, please let us hear your thoughts. The pre-order has a comment section. We're there. For all there listening, we're interacting with you, we're replying to your questions. Make use of that. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think can be different or cooler, or what you like. We're very excited to be starting this adventure.
What about you, Francesco?
Well, I can only underline what Guilherme said about being eager to hear what you think about the game. Being still developing the game, I'm also, I would like to say that, of course, feedback is super important at this stage of refining the game, and that we already are taking steps in that direction. And so we will soon share the result of that in future updates.
Thank you both for joining me. Thank you all for joining us today. We'll talk to you very soon. We'll surely see you in the comment section. At least we hope to. We check those every day. So let's make this game the best it can be with everyone's input, I think. I mean, we didn't have miniatures before. You guys made this happen.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So thank you all so much. And